The weather has turned cold and brisk. It's time to put on our hoodies, and that means the holidays are right around the corner. For most of us, we're looking forward to that gathering of family and friends. But has there been tension, conflict, maybe some online battles about beliefs, about decisions that has left your family and friends in a state of tension? This week, we want to spend our episode talking about that conflict, the anxiety that it brings up, and what are the steps of forgiveness that you can go through in your heart to find that peace and that healing. Here we go. Welcome to Tranquility Moms. If you are new here, welcome. I am so glad to connect with you. My name is Kathryn Gardner. I am one of the moms, therapists, and health coaches on this amazing team of health practitioners and Christian moms. We make these videos and blog posts all about family and faith, travel and wellness so that you have new information and easy tips. Today's episode, we are jumping into a touchy subject. I have seen posts online with strong opinions or decisions that have been made and oppositional comments down below. Has that been happening in your circle as well? So many people have anxiety, anticipatory anxiety about even getting back together with everybody. Is that conversation going to happen in person? What are people going to say or ask? These hot topics that we're living in this difficult, stressful time, and so many people are feeling the tension. There could be anger, resentment, bitterness. Some families have even become estranged during this time. If you're in that position, I'm so glad that you are here and open to looking at the ideas of how can you heal? How can you dig deep? Getting to your place of strength and getting into these holidays with a spirit of joy and an attitude of forgiveness. Years ago, I went to go see Father Brennan speak, and unfortunately, he has passed since then, but his material is still around. He's a Catholic priest who went on to become a PhD psychologist. He wrote books, he has material, all combining faith and psychology. And one of the topics that he addressed was, how do we come to this place of forgiveness? We know as Christians that we're to seek that forgiveness, right? That God promised us that he would forgive all of our sins. But boy, in our humanness, it can be really hard to get into that conflict, to be at opposition, to even have different beliefs as those that we love and care about, and not feel bitter and upset and want to just disappear or disengage from them. So let's go through those 4 steps that Father Brennan came up with that I think are going to help us to really put together a toolbox to get ready for these holidays. Step 1 is to identify your hurts. When you take a look at what have been the injuries that you have felt, what has hurt you, was it something someone posted? Is it something, a comment that was said? Was it a suggestion or an innuendo that was said? Is it somebody who's been removed from you and you feel their coldness? What is the injury? And that leads us to step 2, which is to identify, how did that injury impact you? Were you sad and withdrawn? Did you get angry, intense, and aggressive? Did you take it out on others? Did you turn it into nasty gossip? Step 3 is to identify the way that the offender may be feeling. Boy, that's a hard step, is to step into the offender's shoes and have some empathy, have some compassion. Where do their viewpoints come from? Why do they see things the way that they do? What's their background or history that leads them to see the situation the way that they do? And then we go to step 4, and that is the release. We want to lift up our hurts and our pain and the way that it's impacted us up to our higher power, up to God, to be able to release it to him and say, he is the ultimate judge. He decides what the outcome and the consequences will be. That my heart, in order to feel that healing, is to say, I release it. As you heard those steps, does that seem like something you can do? Maybe there are some challenges that came up for you as you heard those steps. You thought, well, I can identify what happened and I can identify what it did to my mood and my behavior afterwards, but I can't step into that other person's shoes. I'm so mad at them. Or release it, but does that mean that I agree with what they did? They haven't even apologized. They don't even think they're wrong. Well, each of us is going to have our difference in opinions. Each of us is entitled to have our own ideas. And that is how we were created. So your challenge now is to come up with the way that you want to conduct yourself. Do you want to have these discussions at the holidays? Or do you have phrases or ways to set up your boundaries at the get-together? If somebody comes walking into the kitchen and they're like, hey, let's talk about these politics. And you say, I'm here to talk about the cranberries and the baked cookies. I don't want to talk about all that heavy stuff. And make it light. Maybe somebody comes and challenges you about a decision that you've made. You say, well, why'd you do that? Don't you see this at this point, this point, this point? And you say, those are interesting points. Thank you for sharing them with me. You're not ready to share your decision. If you're not feeling like I want to get into a heavy debate, and say, I'm just here to have a good time, really not in the mood to get into all this heavy stuff right now. That helps you to say, I'm in a position here where I want to enjoy myself. If there's somebody toxic and they just kind of keep breaking your boundaries, make sure you have an exit. Do you have kids to go check on? Do you have the bathroom to go use? Make sure that you can step away and say, I don't need to be in this moment or this conversation right now. That's where you give yourself that self-love. And that is certainly part of your healing and how you're going to be able to find joy at these upcoming holidays. If you've been getting stuck and you're just not even sure, well, I need better words or I need heavier tools, you can always check in with a therapist. They are able to walk you through what's happened in the situation, a new way of looking at it, and then definitely some suggestions as to how can you respond and reply in those kinds of conflicts. We invite you to subscribe to our channel, ring that little bell, and give us a thumbs up. That's the best compliment that you can give us. We're so glad that you're here. We hope that these videos are helpful to you. Leave in the comments down below. Is there a way that you have found to keep your boundaries and resolve the conflict, knowing that you don't have to engage in bitterness and toxicity, knowing that you're choosing an attitude of forgiveness to release the pain, to release the upset, that it doesn't need to sit heavy on your heart.